Respected audience, there comes a moment in life when silence speaks louder than words. When you face disrespect, when someone questions your worth, or when you are treated unfairly, your first instinct might be to react, to prove yourself, to fight back. But remember, strength is not in retaliation, it is in restraint. When people disrespect you, they are not defining you, they are revealing themselves. Their words, their actions, their attitude, they all reflect who they are, not who you are. And in that moment, your silence becomes your power. Because arguing with a fool does not make you wise. And proving yourself to those who do not value you is a waste of your precious energy. Stay quiet after disrespect, not because you accept it, but because you rise above it. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It tells the world that you are secure in yourself, that you do not seek validation from those who cannot see your worth. Sometimes the best response is no response. The most successful people, the strongest souls, and the most graceful hearts have mastered the art of silence in the face of disrespect. They walk away not because they are weak, but because they refuse to give negativity the space to grow. So the next time someone tries to bring you down, pause, smile, walk away, because your silence will echo louder than their words ever could. Silence is often misunderstood. Many believe that staying quiet in the face of disrespect or provocation is a sign of weakness, a lack of courage, or an inability to stand up for oneself. But in reality, silence is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It is not about surrendering to the situation, but about choosing wisdom over impulse. It is about knowing when to speak and when to let your silence be the most powerful response. The ability to remain silent requires immense self-control, patience, and emotional intelligence. It is not an easy thing to do, especially in a world that encourages immediate reactions and loud opinions. Silence, in its truest form, is an expression of inner strength. It is the ability to rise above the noise, to maintain composure when provoked, and to choose dignity over unnecessary conflict. When someone disrespects us, our immediate reaction is to defend ourselves, to prove them wrong, to argue and demand respect. But true respect is not something that can be forced out of others. It is something that must be earned, and sometimes it is earned through silence. Reacting in anger or frustration often leads to regret. Words spoken in the heat of the moment can cause damage that cannot be undone. But silence gives us time to process, to think clearly, and to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. The power of silence has been recognized for centuries by philosophers, leaders, and thinkers. It is often said that silence is the language of the wise. Great minds understand that not every situation requires a response. There are moments when words can do more harm than good, when arguing or explaining oneself only fuels the negativity. In such situations, silence becomes a shield, protecting one's peace and integrity. A person who can stay silent in the face of disrespect is not weak. They are in control. They refuse to let someone else's negativity dictate their emotions or actions. When faced with disrespect, the greatest lesson one can learn is that the words and actions of others are a reflection of who they are, not who you are. If someone insults you, belittles you, or tries to bring you down, it says more about their character than it does about yours. Engaging with such negativity only brings you down to their level. But by choosing silence, you show that you are above it. You refuse to engage in battles that are not worth your time and energy. Silence does not mean you accept disrespect, nor does it mean you lack the strength to stand up for yourself. It simply means you understand that some battles are won not by fighting, but by walking away. There is immense dignity in not reacting to every provocation. The most powerful people in the world are not those who shout the loudest, but those who know when to remain silent. Leaders, thinkers, and successful individuals often practice the art of silence because they understand that unnecessary words can lead to unnecessary consequences. Silence is also a tool for self-preservation. In a world filled with noise, negativity, and endless opinions, silence allows you to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Not everything requires your attention, and not every person deserves a response. By choosing silence, you set boundaries. You teach people that you will not waste your energy on negativity. You refuse to give disrespect the power to affect your peace. This is a sign of inner strength, not weakness. One of the greatest misunderstandings about silence is that it is passive. People assume that staying quiet means accepting the situation or being afraid to speak up. But in reality, silence can be an active choice. It is the ability to say, I do not need to respond to this because it does not define me. It is a conscious decision to value your peace over unnecessary conflict. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every situation deserves your words, and not every person deserves an explanation. Silence can also be a powerful tool in communication. Sometimes the absence of words speaks louder than words themselves. When you stay silent after being disrespected, you send a message that is stronger than any argument. You show the other person that their words hold no power over you. You demonstrate that you are in control of your emotions and that their negativity does not affect your self-worth. This can be more impactful than any verbal response. In relationships, whether personal or professional, silence can be a form of self-respect. It is a way of saying, I choose not to engage with negativity. When someone disrespects you, they expect a reaction. They expect you to be hurt, to argue, to defend yourself. But when you respond with silence, you take away their power. You show that their words do not shake your confidence or disrupt your inner peace. This is a mark of emotional maturity and self-assurance. The ability to stay silent requires patience. It is not easy to hold back when you feel wronged, when someone speaks to you unfairly, or when you are misunderstood. But patience is a virtue, and silence is its greatest manifestation. The most composed individuals are not those who react impulsively, but those who take a step back, analyze the situation, and decide whether a response is even necessary. More often than not, silence proves to be the best response. There is also a spiritual aspect to silence. Many great spiritual leaders have emphasized the importance of silence in finding inner peace. In moments of silence, we connect with ourselves, with our thoughts, and with our higher purpose. Silence allows us to listen, not just to others, but to ourselves. It helps us understand our emotions, reflect on our actions, and grow as individuals. When faced with disrespect, silence gives us the space to reflect rather than react, to choose wisdom over impulse, and to maintain our dignity. At the heart of silence is confidence. Only those who are truly confident in themselves can stay quiet when provoked. It takes immense strength to walk away from an argument when you know you could win it. It takes discipline to stay silent when you have 100 things to say. But those who practice silence know that not everything needs to be said. They understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. They recognize that their energy is too precious to be wasted on negativity. Silence is not weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths a person can have. It is the ability to choose peace over conflict, wisdom over impulse, and dignity over unnecessary arguments. When you are disrespected, you have a choice. You can react and give power to the negativity, or you can remain silent and rise above it. The strongest people in the world are not those who shout the loudest, but those who know when to remain silent. Silence is not surrender, it is self-mastery. It is the ultimate form of strength. Disrespect is an unfortunate reality of life. At some point, everyone faces it in different forms, through harsh words, dismissive attitudes, unfair treatment, or even outright humiliation. When someone disrespects us, our first instinct is often to take it personally, to feel hurt, or to wonder if we have done something to deserve it. But the truth is, disrespect is never a reflection of the one receiving it. Rather, it is a mirror showing the character of the one who delivers it. It reveals their insecurities, their inner battles, their lack of emotional maturity, and their own struggles, rather than saying anything about who we are. The way a person treats others is a direct expression of what is going on inside them. It is never truly about us. People who belittle others, who speak harshly, who undermine someone's worth, are often dealing with their own unresolved issues. They might be carrying past wounds, dealing with frustrations, or struggling with their own inadequacies. Instead of addressing these issues within themselves, they project them onto others. It is easier for them to tear someone down than to confront their own insecurities. Their words and actions may sting, but if we take a step back and observe, we can see that their behavior is a reflection of their own pain, rather than anything lacking in us. Disrespect often comes from a place of weakness, not strength. A secure, confident person has no need to diminish others. They understand that lifting others up does not take anything away from them. On the other hand, those who feel small inside try to make others feel smaller, believing that it will somehow make them seem bigger. This is why people who are rude, dismissive, or cruel are often the ones who feel the most powerless in their own lives. They use disrespect as a tool to assert control, to feel superior, or to mask their own self-doubt. When someone disrespects you, they are not defining you, they are exposing themselves. A person who speaks with kindness, even in difficult situations, demonstrates emotional intelligence and strength. A person who chooses harshness and disrespect reveals a lack of inner stability. Their behavior is not a statement about your worth, but a revelation of their own emotional state. When we truly understand this, we can stop internalizing the negativity that comes our way. Instead of taking their words or actions as a measure of who we are, we can see them for what they really are, a reflection of the other person's mindset, emotions, and struggles. This perspective allows us to detach from unnecessary pain. If we take disrespect personally, we allow someone else's words or actions to have power over us. We let them dictate our emotions and self-perception. But when we realize that disrespect says more about the giver than the receiver, we take back control. We refuse to let someone else's negativity shape our self-worth. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. If we internalize someone's hurtful words, we give them permission to affect us. But if we recognize that their words are a product of their own internal issues, we remain unaffected. There is an old saying that hurt people. Those who are at peace with themselves, who are fulfilled and feel secure in their own worth, do not go around disrespecting others. They do not need to. On the contrary, they uplift, they encourage, they show kindness even when they disagree. But those who are struggling, who are dissatisfied with their lives, who feel insecure, often lash out at others. They may not even be aware of it, but their actions are a symptom of something unresolved within them. Understanding that disrespect reveals the other person and not you also helps in choosing how to respond. When someone is rude, dismissive, or unkind, it is tempting to react in the same way. But if we react with disrespect, we allow ourselves to be pulled down to their level. True strength is in rising above it, in responding with grace, or sometimes not responding at all. Silence can be the most powerful response because it shows that their words hold no weight. People who are habitually disrespectful are often looking for a reaction. They feed off conflict, seeking validation through arguments or dominance. When you refuse to engage, when you remain composed and unaffected, it unsettles them. It takes away their power. This is not to say that one should tolerate mistreatment, but rather that one should choose their battles wisely. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every person is worthy of your energy. It is also important to remember that disrespect does not always come in the form of direct insults or obvious rudeness. Sometimes it is subtle, a dismissive tone, a lack of appreciation, an unwillingness to listen. These quieter forms of disrespect can be just as harmful over time if we allow them to affect us. But again, they are a reflection of the other person's character. A person who does not value others, who takes people for granted, who does not listen, is showing their own limitations. Recognizing this helps us detach emotionally and not seek validation from those who are not capable of giving it. Another aspect of disrespect is that it can sometimes come from those closest to us, family, friends, colleagues. When this happens, it can be even more painful because we expect better from the people we care about. But even in these cases, their behavior is about them, not us. A friend who constantly criticizes may be dealing with their own self-doubt. A family member who belittles may have grown up in an environment where love was expressed through harshness. A boss who never acknowledges your efforts may be struggling with their own insecurities. Seeing the situation through this lens allows us to navigate relationships with a greater sense of understanding and emotional resilience. This perspective does not mean excusing bad behavior. It does not mean tolerating disrespect or failing to set boundaries. But it does mean choosing how we internalize it. Instead of feeling hurt, rejected, or diminished, we can remind ourselves that their actions are a reflection of their journey, not ours. We can choose to walk away, to speak up with confidence, or to let go of the need for their approval. Life is too short to carry the weight of other people's unresolved issues. If someone disrespects you, it is not your burden to bear. It is not a sign that you are unworthy, but rather a signal that they have something within themselves that they need to work on. By refusing to let their words or actions define you, you reclaim your power. The next time you encounter disrespect, pause. Instead of reacting emotionally, observe. Recognize that the behavior in front of you is not about you. It is a revelation of the other person's mindset. It is a window into their struggles, their limitations, and their unresolved pain. And with that realization, you can choose to walk away with your dignity intact, knowing that their disrespect has nothing to do with you. There are moments in life when silence speaks louder than words. In a world where people are quick to react, where voices rise to prove a point, and where everyone wants to have the last word, choosing to remain silent can be the most powerful decision. No response is sometimes the best response. Not because one lacks the ability to speak, but because silence can carry more weight than words ever could. The ability to stay quiet in certain situations is not a sign of weakness. It is a reflection of inner strength, wisdom, and emotional intelligence. When faced with conflict, disrespect, or negativity, the immediate reaction is often to defend oneself, to argue, to retaliate. But not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes engaging in an argument only fuels the negativity, leading to unnecessary stress and wasted energy. When emotions are high, words can be spoken in anger, and once they are said, they cannot be taken back. In such moments, silence can be the best course of action. It allows space for emotions to settle, for thoughts to be processed, and for clarity to emerge. Walking away from a situation without responding does not mean surrendering. It means prioritizing peace over pointless conflict. People often engage in arguments not because they seek resolution, but because they crave dominance. They want to prove themselves right, to have the final say, to feel superior. Responding to such individuals only gives them what they are looking for, an opportunity to continue the cycle of negativity. But when there is no response, when their words are met with silence, they are left with nothing to fuel their ego. Silence becomes a statement in itself, sending a clear message that one is above the need to engage in unnecessary confrontation. Silence is a form of self-control. It takes immense strength to remain quiet when provoked, to resist the urge to respond when unfairly treated. It is easy to react, to lash out, to let words fly in the heat of the moment. But it takes discipline to stay calm, to hold back, to choose silence over impulsive speech. A person who can control their words is someone who has mastery over their emotions. They understand that not everything requires a response, that sometimes silence is more effective than any argument could ever be. In relationships, whether personal or professional, silence can be a powerful tool. Not every misunderstanding needs to be debated. Not every criticism needs a defense. There are moments when silence can de-escalate a situation, preventing it from turning into something larger than it needs to be. Reacting in anger can damage relationships, creating wounds that take a long time to heal. But choosing to remain silent, to give space for emotions to cool, can prevent unnecessary hurt. Sometimes, silence is the most respectful response one can give. Not because one agrees, but because one values a relationship more than the need to prove a point. There is also a sense of mystery in silence. When someone expects a reaction and is met with none, it leaves them wondering. They begin to question their own words, their own actions. They are forced to reflect rather than continue speaking without thought. A well-timed silence can shift the power in a conversation, making the other person reconsider their stance. It shows confidence, a quiet assertion that words are not always necessary to make a statement. A person who chooses silence is often the one who holds the real control in a situation. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every provocation needs to be acknowledged. Engaging with negativity only drains energy and shifts focus from what truly matters. The ability to walk away, to let go, to not respond is a sign of wisdom. It means understanding that some people and some situations do not deserve attention. It means choosing inner peace over external chaos. The strongest people are not those who fight every battle, but those who know which battles are worth their time. No response is also a way of setting boundaries. It is a way of teaching people how to treat you. When disrespect is met with silence, it shows that one does not entertain negativity. It communicates that certain behaviors will not be tolerated, that one's energy is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless arguments. Over time, people begin to recognize that they cannot get a reaction, that their words hold no power. Silence becomes a lesson, a quiet but firm statement that some things are simply beneath a response. There is also a great deal of peace in silence. Words have power, but they also carry weight. Engaging in unnecessary conversations, defending oneself against baseless accusations, explaining oneself to those who do not care to understand, all of these drain energy and create emotional exhaustion. But silence preserves peace. It keeps one centered, allowing focus to remain on what truly matters. Instead of getting lost in arguments that lead nowhere, silence keeps the mind and heart free from unnecessary burdens. Some of the most powerful moments in life are those where silence speaks instead of words. A simple pause can communicate disappointment more effectively than an argument. A lack of response can show strength more than an angry retort. A quiet departure can leave a greater impact than a long explanation. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is a statement in itself, a choice that carries meaning and weight. In difficult situations, silence provides clarity. When emotions run high, taking a step back and choosing not to respond immediately allows for better judgment. It prevents saying things that might later be regretted. It creates space for reflection, for understanding the bigger picture. Often after a moment of silence, what once felt urgent to respond to no longer seems worth the effort. Time has a way of revealing what truly matters. And many things that seem important in the heat of the moment lose their significance when given time to settle. Silence also has the power to protect one's dignity. Responding to every insult, every criticism, every negative remark only brings one down to the level of the person speaking them. But staying quiet, maintaining composure, choosing not to engage, keeps one's dignity intact. It shows that one does not need to stoop to the level of others to prove anything. True confidence is found in knowing one's worth without needing to justify it to anyone. There are times when silence can be more powerful than an entire speech. It can demand respect without asking for it. It can command attention without making a sound. It can communicate emotions more deeply than words ever could. When used wisely, silence becomes a tool, a form of strength that sets apart those who understand its value from those who do not. In a world that constantly demands reactions, where people are quick to speak and slow to listen, choosing silence is a rare strength. It is the mark of someone who is secure in themselves, who does not need validation from others, who understands that not everything deserves a response. No response is sometimes the best response, not because one is incapable of speaking, but because silence can hold more power, more wisdom, and more dignity than any words ever could. Silence can also be a form of self-respect. Choosing not to engage in unnecessary arguments or confrontations shows that you value your peace more than the need to be right. Many people waste energy trying to explain themselves to those who are unwilling to understand. They spend time justifying their actions to people who have already made up their minds. But the truth is, not everyone deserves an explanation. Some situations do not warrant a response. Walking away in silence rather than engaging in endless debates is a testament to self-respect. It is a declaration that you know your worth and that you refuse to let others dictate your emotions. There is also great power in silence when dealing with criticism or negativity. When people speak negatively about you, gossip, or try to bring you down, the best response is often no response at all. Engaging in their negativity only gives them more attention and importance. But when you remain silent, you take away their power. You show that their words do not affect you, that you are unbothered and above their level of thinking. Over time, they realize that their attempts to provoke you are futile, and their negativity loses its strength. Silence in this way becomes a shield. It protects your peace and keeps you from being dragged into unnecessary battles. Silence is not just a tool for dealing with negativity, it is also a means of showing strength in personal and professional settings. In conversations, the one who speaks the least often holds the most power. When you are silent, you listen more, observe more, and gather information that others miss. In negotiations, for example, silence can be used to gain leverage. When you remain silent after making a statement, it puts pressure on the other person to speak, often leading them to reveal more than they intended. It gives you the upper hand without you having to say a word. In leadership too, silence can be a powerful tool. A leader who listens more than they speak earns the respect of their team because they show that they value the thoughts and opinions of others. Silence also plays a significant role in personal relationships. In moments of tension, silence can prevent unnecessary arguments from escalating. Sometimes people say hurtful things in anger, words that they do not truly mean. Reacting immediately can lead to more damage as emotions cloud judgment. But choosing to remain silent, to take a step back, and to allow emotions to settle can prevent words from being spoken that may later be regretted. Silence in such moments is an act of patience, understanding, and emotional intelligence. In romantic relationships, silence can communicate emotions more powerfully than words. A pause, a look, an absence of words can convey disappointment, sadness, or love in ways that spoken language cannot. There are moments when words fail to capture the depth of feelings, and silence becomes the bridge that connects two souls. It allows space for reflection, for understanding, and for emotions to be processed without the pressure of immediate responses. There is also an element of mystery in silence. In a world where everyone shares their thoughts, opinions, and emotions freely, silence sets a person apart. It creates intrigue, making others wonder what you are thinking, what you know, or what you might do next. This element of unpredictability gives power because when people cannot read you, they cannot manipulate or control you. Being silent at the right moments can create an aura of confidence, making you appear composed, thoughtful, and in control. Silence is also a form of self-discipline. It takes immense strength to hold back words, to resist the urge to respond impulsively. Many people regret things they say in anger or frustration, words spoken in moments of weakness. But silence prevents such regrets. It allows for careful thought before action, for the ability to choose words wisely rather than speaking in haste. Those who can master silence often find that they make better decisions as their thoughts are not clouded by unnecessary noise. In times of adversity, silence can be a sign of resilience. When facing challenges, setbacks, or betrayals, staying silent rather than reacting impulsively shows inner strength. It means refusing to let circumstances dictate your emotions. It means processing pain in a way that allows for growth rather than revenge. Silence in such moments is not about suppression but about control. It is about choosing how and when to respond rather than being controlled by emotion. There is also a deep sense of peace that comes with embracing silence. The world is filled with noise, opinions, expectations, and endless distractions. But true clarity often comes in moments of silence. When you allow yourself to be still, to step away from the chaos, you gain insight and perspective that constant talking and reacting cannot provide. Many of life's greatest realizations come not through words but through quiet reflection. The most powerful minds understand the value of silence and use it to their advantage. Silence is not about weakness, nor is it about submission. It is about knowing when words are necessary and when they are not. It is about understanding that not every situation requires a response, that not every person deserves a reaction. It is about choosing peace over conflict, wisdom over impulse, and self-respect over validation. The ability to remain silent in the right moments is a skill that separates the wise from the impulsive, the strong from the weak, and the confident from the insecure. There will always be situations in life where speaking feels like the only option, but learning to embrace silence, to understand its power, and to use it wisely can change the way you navigate life. It allows you to remain composed in chaos, to hold your ground in conflict, and to preserve your energy for what truly matters. Words may be powerful, but silence, when used correctly, can be even more so. Silence is not weakness. It is strength, wisdom, and self-respect in its purest form. It allows you to rise above conflict, to protect your peace, and to maintain control over your emotions and reactions. In a world filled with noise, silence sets you apart, making your presence more powerful and your words, when spoken, more meaningful. It teaches patience, resilience, and the ability to choose battles wisely, whether in moments of adversity, conflict, or reflection. Silence speaks louder than words ever could. Mastering it is not about suppression, but about understanding when to engage and when to walk away. True power lies not in reacting to everything, but in knowing that sometimes the most impactful statement is made in silence.